Loud and clear. Okay. Well, it's been a busy day around here because we chose today to take out our fence. So I thought I'd just be crafting and relaxing, and whatever time we chose wouldn't matter a whole lot, but it was a more adventurous day than I thought. But I'm glad to be here with you guys hanging out. Noni's probably ready for a break too. Hi, Andrea. Welcome. Today, I thought we'd make some scrap cards, and some of you have seen them. The thing that I think is really fun about scrap cards is they turn out different every time. I don't think I've ever sat down and made them exactly the same. So there isn't a formula here. There are just ideas and inspiration. I have a pile of fabric. My friend Katie is an avid quilter, and so is my mom. And they cut off 1-inch strips and throw them away. That is trash to a quilter. So if there are quilters in your life, be sure and tell them you'll take it. And then I have, you've seen in a lot of my videos, my bag of branding strips and random things. I don't even throw away the ends of the paper. I just keep everything. So we'll do some paper and some fabric. And I use cardstock that's been sitting around that I don't love. It could be ancient, not sure exactly if it's pink or lavender, green. It could be a printed paper from a 6x6 pad that I don't like that much. It doesn't matter at all. Hi, Eileen, welcome. Doesn't matter at all what kind of paper you use. So you're gonna see me glue onto things, and as they get created, you'll notice the color of this background paper doesn't really matter. I'm gonna leave these sitting here so you can see measurements, but you don't have to use these at all. Hi, Natalie. Welcome so much. She's crafting with NC Invites. We are making cards with scraps, fabric and paper. And the way I start is very scientific. I say, okay, here's a piece of paper. And if I had leftovers from some project and they weren't these sizes, I'd use those too. It doesn't matter. If I'm cutting, I cut to these sizes. And I don't think I ever take a full sheet of paper and chop it down. And then I have a bunch of, these aren't from the same collection necessarily. I just reached in here and went, oh, these are similar things. And then I kind of threw back the, oh, it doesn't quite work. And then I take my art glitter glue. You could use strips just like any other project, right? I use the art glitter glue because it lets me wiggle. It lets me put things on. Let's see if my pin is. Lets me put things on and adjust them a little bit. And I almost always leave a space between them. Okay? Just for interest, I think. Also because half the time they're not straight. The papers aren't straight. And so I use that to make up my space. And as I'm laying things down, I'm going to look for similar widths. And then if I can't find one, I might take a pair of scissors and make one. And I just check and make sure that let me zoom you in a little, that the same paper isn't touching itself more than once, right? Because we want this to be interesting. I let it go right off the edge. And I mix up widths if I have them. I try and do this on my mat because then it doesn't matter if it gets messy, but sometimes I'm traveling. These are a really good thing to do for traveling. Some of you know that I've taken these, too much green together. See, it's very scientific. I've taken projects like this on the road, like if I go to a friend's, I don't get glue on their table, don't worry. And I make cards while I'm hanging out with them. Well, hi, Melody. Thanks for joining us. I know Melody has a whole stash of fabric too. She could make a lot of scrap cards. And we all have paper. And many of you throw away these branding strips, and these make some of my most fun cards ever. And like I said, I don't overthink it. You could make these while you were at a kid's baseball game. You could make them while you're watching TV. Oops, these are glued together already. I try not to throw things back in there that I got glue on, but sometimes I do. A little too much green in that one. Ooh, I like this one. And then for the corners, Sometimes I just take like the end off of here. Maybe I want that color to repeat and I glue it on right there. I told you, this is very scientific. And let's use this one that has a lot of green down here. So the only trick is don't glue it down to your mat. Okay, and I let it dry and then I trim it. So we're gonna set that one aside, and I do them at an angle because then I don't have to worry about if they're straight. You can see this one's at an angle. Sometimes I make a V like this. I really like how this one turned out. All sorts of things. I'm gonna take a minute and check the comments while we're switching to fabric, and we'll let this one dry. And then I'll show you what we do with it. Hi, Bonnie, welcome. Welcome, Stephanie. Michelle, thank you guys so much for joining me. Art glitter glue. Oh, I love art glitter glue. I know a lot of people are trying that new one, but I haven't tried it, and so far art glitter glue is my love. All right, I'm gonna show you fabric. Now remember, this is trash. I didn't go out and buy this stuff. This is other people's trash and my treasure. And if you're doing this for the first time, I would try and keep it flat. I wouldn't worry about making gathers, but there aren't any rules and you can do it however you want. For simplicity on camera, I think I'm going to use this. Art glitter glue works absolutely fine too. Well, I'm gonna use art glitter glue because I like it. So this is what I do. It's the same idea. The fabric takes a little bit longer to set sometimes. And I just glue one edge. I leave that other edge loose. And where I put the glue is based on how wide my strips are. And remember, my strips were typically, I do have some here that were a jelly roll and I sliced them in half, but typically my strips were cut by whoever gave me the fabric. So I didn't decide. There's not a measurement. There's not, oh, do it at half or, oh, so Bonnie, you've tried both of those glues, have you? I'm curious, but I'll probably just reorder my art glitter glue because it never lets me down, you know? And I think once you find something that's dependable, you should keep it going. Okay, and you know my love of blue. There's some pink in here for you pink lovers. And I, on a lot of these, have used dies to decorate them at the end, but don't worry, they turn out gorgeous with stamps too. You can just stamp a sentiment on a piece of, it's hard to talk and work, isn't it? A piece of paper, and then, I think this is blue, trim it and put it even on your fabric cards, and it turns out amazing. So sometimes if I have these big long strips and I want to repeat one, like I really like this, we'll pick up a bit of this purple. Then I'll trim off the edge when I'm not quite ready. Okay. And if you're a junk journal maker, then you're not worried about any of those strings. I'm just going to trim this because it's heavy. You're not worried about any of those strings showing. You might have wanted to take some scissors and mess them up a little more. When I make these for my mom, sometimes I even iron the fabric. But, you know, let's not get crazy today. Okay, so let me show you. I like to take, don't buy these scissors. I have them, but don't buy them. They're the only scissors I've ever had in my life that you have to tighten up. These cut like butter, but I don't have long ones. Okay, let's let the fabric sit for another minute. So I go like this. I take a big pair of scissors and I just trim it down like this, usually on one side. And then if you want to get really picky and make sure it's nice and square, you can shove it in here. I just take the whole thing. And if memory serves me, this was the smaller size. And if I trim off a little, I don't worry about it because lots of times the card that I made this on wasn't square in the first place. Oh, that's a cute one. Okay. And then, oh, here we go. Look at this. Smile. Touch of green. Now, if you want to add another layer, you can always take, this was a small one, so we could take this, cut it down, and that could be our card right there. And see how easy those come together? And they're so fun, and they always turn out great because you picked the papers. Your trash has the colors that you like. Maybe not so much in the fabrics. Like, there was a whole bunch of yellow, and that was from Katie, and I wasn't so excited about it. But in the papers, for sure. Now, down here in the corner where I used the scissors, that little edge shows. So I'm just going to come back, go like that. There we go. And I didn't do a great job talking and gluing. That's okay. And if we wanted, we could put foam mount on this, but for speed, I'm just going to glue it while we're talking. And honestly, I place my sentiment on these based on maybe a spot I don't like. Like, that seems a little weird, and it kind of looks like there's water or something that I dripped on there. So I'm going to cover that up. Or if there's a certain paper that I love and I don't want to cover it up, that's how I decide. And let's see if this is big enough. Oh yeah, it'll work. We don't even have to trim it. Okay. And oh, look, I'm still in love with my ATG, in case you were wondering. Even with the not quite the right size adhesive rolls. Totally in love with it. Can't believe I waited so long to spend the $20. Now, the one thing that gets tricky if you're using a whole bunch of scraps and you go to layer them up is your borders won't be your normal 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch that you're used to. So be sure you check all the sides before you start gluing random scraps together when you go to make the card. That happens to me if I just grab a rectangle and make a card on it. The thing about these cards too that's fun is they don't turn out just like everything else you made that week, right? I've been doing so much spring and summer stuff, but I haven't made anything with this color palette or this style this week. Then I could add some enamel dots and change it up a little, and I would just be done. Oh, if you don't have an ATG, you got to get one. There's a link in the description of my videos on Amazon. That one's like $20 and some change, and a couple of us have ordered it and we haven't been unhappy. Maybe you'll find a better deal, but I don't know. So, okay, there's that one. Now, let me show you fabric. Fabric, I don't know if I usually put it in the paper cutter. I don't think I do. It's a little more tricky, right? It depends on your scissors and if they're sharp enough. And they're probably not, because they need to be screwed together. Note to self, tighten your scissors before you do a live. Or just buy more. Scissors are like cutters. I'm working through some issues with them. Okay, then I'm going to trim this side down. And on this one, how about if we use, do you want to see oh, I've got a kind of cute die sitting here. I'll show you. You can tell me if you like the die cut or if we should use a stamp. Super, super dull. Okay. Then I leave the strings. If you aren't a junk journaler and that bothers you, then you could take those off. At the top, I have a tiny bit of the paper showing. I don't love that. See? Very, very scientific. Now I have a stash of card bases right here. Okay, and we could mat it. Ooh, it would be cute with this. What do you think, Andrea? Is it purple enough? Oh, did Runaway have the big pair of these? Noni's telling me about scissors. Because, I mean, these are great, but they just don't stay screwed together. Not enough, not purple enough. Well, I'm going to use it though, because it goes with that okay. I think other people will be okay. Andrea's pretty picky about her purples. She's probably really mad that we covered up this one. And notice on a fabric card, the way I did this, it doesn't show at all. If you have a whole stash of like a weird orange that you're not a fan of or something, you could use it for this. Just be careful about the sides a little bit. Be sure you make your fabrics hang over the edge. And I have a little bit of fabric down there at the bottom that's crooked, so I'm trying to compensate. When I get done with my scrap cards, they're probably never a standard size and shape. Okay, let's see, what do I have? I have Relax, which seems a little green. I have some stamps right here. And I just wanted you to see that you can do it either way. Happiness is not a destination, it's a way of life. Life is a sequence of moments called now. Thanks, grateful. Which one do you guys want to see? Andrea's whining. Andrea's whining about the amount of purple that we're demonstrating here. Okay, are you guys picking a sentiment? Grateful. All right, we'll go grateful. I even found a block. Yesterday, I used a yogurt lid. And some VersaFine. So I keep this giant thing of white scraps, and I just grab some when we need some. And yes, I do have the stamping platform, but then I would have to clear a space big enough to use it. And I think we can make this work quickly and simply. There we go. Okay, is this going to be too big, Andrea? It's going to be close. Okay, we'll see if we get a good image. I'm not sure when the last time I used this stamp was. I do like this stamp, though. Oh, that's not too bad. A little bit of cat hair in there. I can't see it, but I know it's there. Oh, does that happen to you guys? It's the pets. I'm going to try one more, see if I like it better. Can you guys go shopping in your area now? Like, can you go into all the craft stores and wander around and touch things and buy things? Yep, I got something else in there. Okay, I'm going to use that one. It'll work. You'll get the idea. Actually, I'm going to use the first one. Isn't that funny? Do you do that? And then on the scrap cards, this is a nice sturdy cardstock. And I'm going to cut it down as small as I can for this large sentiment. And sometimes when I use fabric, I make ruffles. And if I make ruffles, then I try and use foam mount or something else. I feel like Grateful needs its corners rounded. It seems a little bit loud and rowdy for this card. Oh my gosh. Just reached into the drawer and found the corner rounder. Are you guys impressed? You would be if you saw the rest of this room. Okay. Oh, you can go to Tuesday morning and Michael's. Everything is still closed in Toronto. So we're in this weird stage where you can make appointments to go places, but you can't really set foot in there. Okay, I think it's a little long for a horizontal card or a vertical card, but I think it's cute. Then, because I don't want to force the fabric down so much, I'm just going to put foam mount on the top of it, or on the back of it. And this is my great big giant roll that I just love. And this stuff isn't super thick. It's definitely thinner than the Dollar Tree one. But our adhesives work just fine with fabric. So don't feel like you can't cross over to fabric at all. My mom loves this fabric. So I'm gonna make sure I don't cover that one up at all. Well, just a little, right there. There we go. Grateful and smile. And you could do angles with your fabric. The other thing I've done before, and I would do it with this one more, but we're already running pretty long, is I would take this, let me show you real quick. Let's try one. I start at the bottom when I do fabric because I'm layering them up on top of each other. But when I do paper, I just pick a spot. Okay, so if I want to do ruffles and I don't want to deal with waiting for my adhesive, can you guys see this okay? I just use the Tuesday morning or the Sequang or whichever sticky double-sided tape. It could be Scotch. It does not matter what brand you use. And then it sticks right away. And I don't have to worry about holding it or adjusting my ruffles at all. So if you want your cards to be a little more girly and a little more poofy, and I think you can even mail these. I don't think they get too crazy. Then add the ruffles in and be sure you don't put adhesive down at the bottom. Does that make sense? Because you want your fabric to be a bit rowdy. I'm trying to cover that up so the next layer doesn't hit. So I don't cover the whole card. If you are doing fabric and you just want it to be flat, like here, I could have just done stripes of adhesive and it would have been absolutely fine too. But when I do the ruffles, I don't want my whole card because see, I want that texture and letting that fabric do whatever it wants. And then I do the same exact thing on the sides. I just take my scissors and trim it. Just be careful you don't trim it too close because when you're doing, oh my gosh, when you're doing ruffles, you do have to go back and adjust the edges a little bit maybe. There you go. So like I might stick some adhesive with my art glitter glue in there and stick it down. And you can certainly use your art glitter glue. It's just a matter of if you want to wait for it a little bit. And then you could take sentiment just like this. You could make your ruffles go this way. You could make your ruffles go at an angle. No rules. So look around your craft room and see what you have. Ribbons, trims, you could use crepe paper, all sorts of stuff. Maybe you were a tassel maker and you have tons and tons of trims like that. Go in there and have a great time with them. I hope everybody's having a fabulous day and that you're taking time for crafting and relaxing. I'm going to read the comments a little and then I think we're done unless you have questions for me because I don't want to keep you trapped. Bonnie says she loves the ordering online and curbside pickup. You don't go crazy that way. I know, but I want to see pictures. Like, I feel like I've been trapped at home for so many months. I don't even know what they have in the store. Bye, Natalie. Thanks for coming. Have a great day. I appreciate you. So it is a good point, though. You're right, Bonnie. You don't just go crazy and fill a basket. I feel like if they let me in, though, I might just, like, pick up everything I could carry. I have a haul video this week, and they didn't even let me in the store. That was before you could go in. It was the next day. I'm looking. Eileen says Michael's in Vancouver is still closed, but Joanne and Craft Warehouse are open. Yeah, and you have that nice Craft Warehouse. If I had that Craft Warehouse, I'd probably do a walkthrough. I've been trying to use up my paper, so I think that's going pretty well for me. Everybody, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you. I go crazy whether or not I'm in the store, Andrea. Oh, maybe sometimes, not too bad. Bye, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Have a great day or evening. I'm not sure exactly what time it is for you. I think it's pretty late for you, right, Toronto? Okay, bye, everybody. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for coming.